Fear is something hardwired into the genes of every living creature. It is not a weakness, but the oldest survival mechanism nature has ever given. Fear helps creatures listen to the world around them. It teaches them when to hide, when to run, and when to fight. Without fear, there is no warning. Without fear, there is no instinct to flee. Without fear, no strategy of defense could exist. Across the scorching, merciless savanna, fear is the fragile thread that separates life from death. It makes the heart beat faster. It drives the legs to move. It forces the mind to remember every danger so that next time when the wind shifts and the scent of blood drifts through the air, they will know death is near. And it is precisely because we know fear that this world is still breathing. Rwanda, the land of 1,000 hills. To the west lies Akagera National Park, stretching across endless grasslands, dense forests, and wide, shimmering lakes. A place that was once strangely peaceful, a place with no predators left. Zebras wander lazily under the sun. Topi antelopes graze calmly in the open fields. By the lake, hippos snort in the murky water. And up in the trees, baboons lounge half asleep under the golden light. No roars, no blood, no fear, only the wind, and the quiet of a world that seems to have forgotten it once had to fight to survive. But peace is only a thin veil. The lions are coming back. 19 lions brought all the way from South Africa, traveling over 2,000 kilometers to restore balance to this land. When they awaken from sedation, they open their eyes to a world they haven't seen in decades, a world untouched by their kind. Akagera has changed, and fear is beginning to take root again. Giraffes are the first to sense it. A strange smell, strong, musky, wild. They don't yet know it, but it's the scent of death. A young rhino, its horn barely sprouting, stays close to its mother. Every encounter is a lesson in survival. The mother is calm. The calf is curious. It watches the hyenas with wide, innocent eyes, not knowing that behind the laughter lies danger. A sharp howl splits the air. The calf startles and runs. From that moment, the sound is carved into its memory. Every time it hears it again, instinct will take overrun. It's fear written deep into its biology. The wildebeests, the foot soldiers of the savanna, follow the grass, follow the rain. When the land dries up, they begin their migration, endless lines moving toward survival. They walk not out of curiosity, but out of fear, fear of hunger. A lone topi stands on a mound of dirt eyes, scanning the horizon. One faint sound, one shifting shadow in the wind, and it lets out a piercing cry. The herd understands and runs. Fear spreads faster than the wind. As darkness swallows the plain, the antelopes close ranks, shoulder to shoulder, trembling. In the distance, golden eyes flicker in the night. The lions are coming. And in the dry breath of the grass, fear becomes the only shield left to protect fragile life. Under the blazing sun, a river winds through the savanna, the meeting place of all life. But the water also hides death. Beneath the muddy surface lurk the Nile crocodiles, ancient survivors from the age of the dinosaurs, armored in scales, driven by a single purpose, written deep in their primitive brains: to kill. The zebras arrive. They are thirsty, but to reach the other side, they must face their fear. The leader leaps first, one follows, then another. The river explodes into chaos, splashes, panic, pounding hooves. The herd trembles. A young zebra slips. A shadow moves beneath the surface, fast, silent, precise. Then, nothing. Silence returns, heavy, merciless. On the savannah, fear teaches every creature the limits of courage. In another corner of this vast land, a herd of elephants is on the move. A calf stumbles behind, lifting its head at the sound of a distant roar. The matriarch, the great old mother, understands. She raises her trunk and calls. Instantly, the herd closes ranks, forming a wall of gray flesh and ivory around the little one. The lion stops. It knows there's no chance now. Fear has changed sides and become strength. Time passes. The lionesses give birth. Beside them lies an old male, frail, fading, dying. But the law of the wild leaves no room for mercy. When young males appear, they kill the cubs, forcing the females back into estrus, resetting the cycle of life. Dominance begins where the fear of extinction lives. The lionesses roar with rage, with grief, with defiance. Fear gives birth to resistance. And sometimes, that resistance is the only way to survive. A young zebra, trembling soaked, stands on the far side of the river. It has won. For the first time, it knows that fear is real, but it also knows it can be overcome. Above, the sky darkens. Rain begins to fall. Thunder cracks. The wildebeests scatter in panic, but the elephants remain standing, shoulder to shoulder, silent in the storm. Fear is not something to avoid, but to understand. It doesn't kill us. It teaches us how to live. Elsewhere, the old lion, once a king, is now just a scavenger. He drags his weary body across the plain eyes, dim stomach hollow. Above him, vultures circle waiting. When he no longer knows fear, he no longer knows life. On the savannah, pride protects no one. A herd of buffalo approaches a dark tide across the horizon. The lions charge, but this time fear no longer belongs to the prey. The buffalo fight back. They turn, they strike, they rage. A lioness falls. Her cub, hidden in the grass, trembles. It waits for the sound of its mother's steps to return. And in that silence, it learns the most important lesson of all. Sometimes survival isn't about escaping fear, but learning to live with it. When dawn breaks, the mother lion returns. They find each other. In their eyes, there is still fear, but also love, and the unbreakable will to endure. The baboons have taken over a fertile patch of land. But when the lions draw near, they scream, bare their teeth, and widen their eyes' faces, twisted by fear. Those expressions spread like wildfire, infecting the whole troop, turning instinct into chaos. But fear has two sides. It not only warns, it exposes. And to the predators watching from the grass, those wild, panicked faces send a clear message. They are weak. A heartbeat later, the lions charge. The baboons scatter in every direction. Once again, fear shifts the balance of survival. The old lion, once dethroned, once feared, meets a lioness cast out from her pride. Two outcasts, two souls shaped and scarred by fear. They say nothing. No growl, no sound. Only a look, heavy, wordless, and then they walk side by side toward the setting sun. She hunts. He protects. Fear is no longer their enemy. It is the bond that holds them together. They leave Akagera behind, wandering toward a land no lion has ever claimed. Behind them, fear still hangs over the savannah, a silent mist that touches everything alive. Fight. bleed, be rejected, kill to survive. All of it just different faces of the same fear. Since the lion's return, Akagera has changed. The grass grows greener, but peace is gone. Fear has become the pulse of life itself. And in this land, reborn through predators, only one law remains, where fear reigns. Life truly begins. Thank you for watching. If this story moved, you don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again on the next journey into the wild.